First of all, this freebie culture, of which some people in Delhi are masters of that culture. Look, they are doing it because they don't have the responsibility of raising resources. I mean, you cannot run a country on the basis of freebies. If somebody has to pay for it, no? Anybody who's giving a freebie here is taking away something there. Okay? So, I totally agree. I think to me, it is actually the very fact you are raising this question itself is encouraging, which means today that there is awareness that this freebie culture is actually a way of, I would say, quick popularity. Quick popularity in a very irresponsible way, because you know it is not sustainable. You know that by doing this, you cannot, no state, ultimately if a country has to balance a budget, every state has to balance a budget also. Resources have to come from somewhere. So, unfortunately, politics, you have different sort of multiple options in politics. There are good options and sometimes less responsible options. So, I think part of the responsibility of people is actually to see through this, and really think, take your responsibility as a citizen also seriously. We have not just taken up the G20 presidency, we have taken up the G20 presidency at a very important time in the world. Because the world economy was already having problems. We then had 3 years of COVID, which has been devastating for every society. Then you had the Ukraine conflict. You have a very large number of countries whose basic progress in education, in health, in the social sector, in employment is getting affected. Very large number of countries who are going into debt. You can see even in our neighborhood countries like Sri Lanka struggling, Bangladesh has turned to IMF. So there are very, very serious issues today happening in the world. So the first point about G20 is, how do you ensure that the right issues are being discussed by the 20 most powerful countries, most influential countries in the world? And our sense was that the conversations are not focusing on the right issues. Okay. So what Prime Minister decided to do, and we are the first G20 country to actually do this. He said, let us consult the countries who are not on the table. Okay. So you'll have 20 countries plus another 9 countries we are inviting as guests. So there are totally, let us say, 200 countries in the world. Okay. So there are another 120, 130 countries who will not be there. So we consulted them. Literally, he spent, that is the nature of Modi, that we spent 2 very intensive days, Prime Minister, 5 ministers, meeting, talking to our counterparts, consulting 125 countries. And coming from that, a sense that, look, these, in our view, are the issues today troubling the world. So when we go into a G20 meeting, I can honestly say as an Indian minister to the other 19 participants in the table, saying, look, I have spoken to 125 countries. These are their views. Now, I want you guys to also listen to these issues and focus on these issues. The second part of it is, G20 is an enormous exercise. There are about 200 meetings in the course of the year. Now, mostly countries do this in the capital city and 2 or 3 big cities. Okay. So our way of doing it, and this was very much a kind of a democratization of foreign policy, which we are trying to do, is to say we will do it in about 60 cities We will do it across the states and union territories of India. And the reason for that is twofold. One, we want every city, every state, the entire country to be more aware of the world, because today in a globalized world, that is where our opportunities are. So when a G20 event happens, say you people in Bangalore, you are used to having foreigners come, you're used to, investors coming, you're used to tourists coming, but not every city is like this. I've been to places in India where even the idea of a G20 meeting, everybody is very excited, very thrilled about it. For them, it's a big deal, But the other part of it is also this. If you take these 200 meetings and the number of people in the world who will come, these are the most powerful influencers of global opinion. Okay? We want them to see all of India, to see the diversity, to see the pluralism, to see the multiple cultures, the cuisines, the arts, and get back to their country with that more informed, fuller sense of India. Okay, so the motto which we have internally is G20 is about getting the world ready for India and India ready for the world, and that is really what the exercise is. It's a little bit like sports. Okay, so any sports you play.
Can you hear?
Huh?
Sure.
Okay. Any? Yeah.
Maximum.
It's. You want to move it up there? Yeah. It's a little bit like she's asking, how do you handle a press conference abroad? How do you give immediate answers? So it's a little. There's a lot of I would say instinct and practice which go into it. I mean, what do you do in sports? Everybody says go do net practice. Why do you do net practice? Because you already mentally see that coming. I mean, by the time they actually start saying it, your mind is already processing this is the way they are going to say. So that a lot of it is instinct and, as I said, experience. But why, that was the kind of the technique. But I think today what happens is, if you are, as he says, if you are too diplomatic with people, if you give them a jalebi type answer, they actually think you are weak, they think you are not sure of yourself, somewhere you are lacking in confidence. They do not accept the strength of your position. Okay. So at some stage, look, it's not that I am very combative. I'm actually a very nice guy. So most of the time, you are telling people, yes, let me explain this to you, etc. Then suddenly you meet somebody who pushes you very hard. Who will come in let us say, a press conference with what we call an ambush. They will come, remember that oil question which I got, why do you go and buy this oil? So they came with the idea. They did not come there to seek information. They came there to push you publicly to take a position. I think this India, Modi's India, if somebody pushes you, you push back.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.